The meeting to order at 6:30. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Trustee Masek?
Here.
Trustee Bluthart?
Here.
Trustee McNeil? Here.
Here.
Trustee Pierce?
Present.
Trustee Peterson?
Present.
Mayor Gertner?
All right, so mayoral report, we have a couple acknowledgements. It is National Nurses Week, May 6th through the 12th. Mother's Day is coming up on May 10th. And today is Administrative Assistance Day, I found out this afternoon. So if you are an administrative assistant, especially in my office, I'll get something for you tomorrow. So, but remember, if you forgot, you can do, I think it's half price after today for the cards. So proclamation, we have a proclamation for Library Week. We have a couple of representatives from the library, I believe. Are they out here? Oh, back there. Okay. So, yep, I have it. It's on my desk. Jennifer Drink, is she here? Okay. Oh, it's okay. Amy Blue? Amy? Okay. Chris Seipel? Chris? All right, how are you? Emmy Caldara? Hello. Sam Langford and IT. And who did I not say? Devin Wood. All right, welcome. We have a proclamation that Lori's signing that I'm going to read. All right, it's whereas the library sparks creativity, fuels imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. And whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEM programs, and literacy, get that word right, initiatives, fostering curiosity and love of the learning that lasts a lifetime. And whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, creativity for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Scott Gardner, Mayor of the Village of Antioch, proclaim April 19th through 25th, 2026 as National Library Week. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit the library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy. So thank you. And if there's anything you guys would like to add, the podium's yours.
So much for having us here. We welcome everybody to the library. We hope you come see what we have to offer. If you haven't been in lately, please do come in. We're so proud to be a part of Antioch and to bring our best selves every day to our community and to support all the work that you all do too as businesses and government entities and all of that. So thank you so much. And tomorrow we're having a volunteer fair from 1 to 3 for people who are available to volunteer during the day. And we're hosting a bunch of different community organizations if you'd like to join us for that.
Very nice. Thank you. Mr. Pierce, Trustee Pierce.
This sounds terrible, but I was in the library today, and that's not the terrible part. But my wife was with me, and she goes, "What do they do here in the library? Can you give like a brief rundown of some of the things you guys do?"
Okay. So we have a maker space, for example, where we have craft classes, sewing machine classes, knitting and crochet, 3D printing, all that kind of stuff. We have a studio where people can do recordings and they can, record podcasts, that kind of stuff. We of course have books. We have meeting rooms that community organizations can use, but also individuals can use. Study rooms for people, just wanting to study. We have right now we're giving away seeds. We have a seed library. I mean, we always have it, but it's out because it's the season. We have story times, of course, for the little ones. Lots of teen programs. We have a Mario Kart tournament coming up, for example. We do AARP tax season just ended, but we had the volunteers come and prepare people's taxes. Yeah, I could go on.
It's not just reading.
Full books, yeah.
Right.
For public use, of course, too. We have a shredder. We have a big, huge shredder that shreds a ton. So if you don't want to wait for a shredding event, come for that.
We have a lot of stuff at the old village hall that Lori needs to shred, so not current records, old stuff, yeah.
podium and it's super quiet and fast.
Yeah.
We have a scan station that scans stuff to PDF and email. We check out telescopes, sewing machines. I don't even know what all. Metal detectors.
In other words, go to the library and see all the stuff they have. They,
This is something that not everybody knows we offer.
well, thank you. Say thank you to Jennifer
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you, yes. Oh, and oh, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. And if I can.
Yeah.
I'm with the marketing department at the library. I'm with the marketing department at the library. And I handle making everything from the decorations to all the goodies that you get during National Library Week. I brought with some keychains that I designed if I could.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can stick around or leave whenever you want. Tonight is budget discussion, so if you want to stick around, you might be sleeping about halfway through it. So, yeah. All right. So we have some wrestlers here. Is that right? All right. So we have recognition of the Augs wrestling team, some state qualifiers. Where are those wrestlers? Two of them here. All right, so I have the coaches are Mr. Godsey. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. Mr. Godsey, Mr. Simones, and Miss Sullivan. Is that correct? Are they all here? They're not here. All right. Is Kyler here? Hi, Kyler. How are you? Why don't you stand up? We have Kyler has been wrestling since he was 3. He joined the Augs team at his 6th grade year. He was a regional champion at 100 pounds to finish out middle school career. He was a conference champ at 126 pounds, took second at the regionals, battled his way back to 3rd place at sectionals, and fell short of the placing round, but finished 8th in the state. He was 22-3 during his regular season. So congratulations. And so I'm gonna Michael Bosa, you can stay up there. Michael is new to Augs. He joined the team as a first-year wrestler. He went 13-3 for the regular season through conference, placed 2nd at regionals and 4th at sectionals. And so, there's some other wrestling coaches here from the high school, so they're probably remember your names. And then we have 2 athletes, Jackson and Isaiah, were unable to attend, but their info is Isaiah Rubio wrestled for 3 years at Augs. He was undefeated heading to the state tournament. He placed 3rd at the state with only 1 loss for his 8th grade career. He was a conference champion, regional champion, and sectional champion. And Jackson Sullivan is a 7th grade wrestler, a 2-time state qualifier, a 2-time state placer, 3rd for both. He was 26-1 regular season record, conference champion, regional champion, sectional champion. His first loss at state, and he was 3rd in state. So again, congratulations to all of you, and keep it up because last week I had 2 weeks ago I had a state champion here. So hopefully you guys are doing that in a couple of years when you come back. So thank you. Congratulations. Is Sasha here? Okay. We have a recognition of an Antioch Community High School wrestling team state qualifier, Sasha Johnson. Hi, Sasha. Get up. Yeah. So Sasha here was the first ever IHSA girls state placer. Great milestone for the school and the community and the continued growth of girls wrestling in our community. What year number is this? Second year. Okay, second year. She just added a 145-pound junior freestyle champion this past weekend, so congratulations. Placed sixth at the IHSA Girls State Championship as well, first time in Antioch history, so congratulations. And did I say what year? What year are you in school? The juniors, you got one more year to do this. Okay. Any other sports you're playing over there? Flag football. All right. Well, congratulations and keep up the good work. Thank you for coming in tonight. We have some Antioch Predator wrestlers. Are they here? And the state champion, Grady Glowacki, all here tonight. Raise your hand if you're here. Oh, there they are on this side. All right. I see a bunch of students over here, and I always joke those are the ones that must have gotten in trouble, but I think they're really here just for a class for civics class. So they have to sit through the meeting tonight. So we have Grady Glowacki. Grady, you not here? Okay, he was um, IKWF state champion and Greco state champion, qualified for nationals. Leela Carson, Leela here. All right. She's the freestyle champion and IKWF third place finisher. Congratulations. Abby Glowacki. Abby, she is IKWF state runner-up and freestyle state runner-up and qualified for nationals. Going down the family line, we have Molly Glowacki. Hi, Molly. Freestyle state third place finisher and IKWF fourth place finisher. Lucy Carson. Lucy, freestyle state runner-up and IKWF seventh place finisher. Congratulations. How about Kenny Gersh? Not here. Okay. He is an IESA state runner-up. Anastasia Morales. Oh, there you are. How are you? She is a freestyle state third place finisher and IKWF state qualifier. Sophia Hinosa. I misspelled. No, not here. She's an IKWF fifth place finisher. And Remy Omatawan. Hey, Remy. He is IKWF seventh place finisher. Congratulations to all of you and keep up the good work. Looks like Antioch Wrestling program is both boys and girls is in good hands in the future. So congratulations. And I know it's a very difficult sport and takes a lot of time and hard work. So thank you for coming in tonight. Do we have anybody? Oh, Trustee Pierce, you gonna wrestle him?
No, I'm not gonna wrestle. I think they can all take me
Okay.
probably. But I noticed Remy had put a tie on, and I was pretty impressed that he's got a tie. So wanted to congratulate him on that. I wanted to say we've got a whole group of wrestlers here. Why don't they stand up and get a picture with you?
All right, or everybody with the board here. Everyone who's a wrestler tonight, please come up here. I think we should put like a little mat out there sometime and have a little fun. All right, yeah, just come up for the whole board. Everyone's dude, you're going.
He tried to sneak.
Yeah. All right.
You're right. You're right.
No.
Oh, man, we got one more coming here. Steve?
So you get behind you.
You choose to be no more. Much better thing to look at.
All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Where's the guy? What's the guy?
All right, thank you guys. Have you guys all met Owen, who was here last week? Because he's a big boy. Okay, all right. Yeah, don't mess with him. It's right. See you. Have a good night. All right, yeah.
What's on?
Now for the exciting stuff. Here we go. Do we have any public comment? So, I didn't see anybody sign up for public comment, so if anybody doesn't want to sign up, now's the last call for that. Going once, going twice. All right, next is regular business. This is the committee of the whole meeting. Um, we have things flip-flop tonight, just so everybody is in the same frame of mind. I should have said this in the mayoral report, but I do not intend to bring the vote of the full budget to the board tonight. Tonight, let's just focus on the discussion and questions and the slide presentations. And then there'll probably be some revisions at that point, and either approve it at the May 13th meeting, or if we feel a need for a special meeting, we could do that earlier. But just, I don't want everyone to feel like have to get all the questions in tonight and vote on this tonight, because today we did make some tweaks, and so there'll probably be some revisions coming up. So just want to put that out there before we start. But regular business first is approval of the April 8th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes as presented. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion, trustee Bluthart.
Second.
Second, trustee McNeil. Roll call, please.
Mason.
Yeah.
Luther.
Yeah.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce. Peterson.
Yes.
It's voting yes, motion carries. All right, on to the discussion regarding the proposed budget. So, Director Peterson gave his high-level overview of the budget as a whole, and this week it's time for all of our hard work of our directors, everybody from each director, from each department, Andrew, the whole finance department, the whole village has been working very hard on this in a pretty shortened time frame with a new administrator. So it's a heavy lifting for everybody, and everybody breathes a sigh of relief when it's over from a staff level, I'm sure, except Michael, who goes right into audit season, right? So no break for that. But who wants to start off this?
Mayor, we're ready to pick up where we left off. So chief would be first up. We do police, public works and parks, and then go from there.
And then I guess it makes sense to ask questions of the department heads while they're up there. So
Give Jim a minute to pull up the slides. Word.
while they're doing that, it's part of the reason we're having some potential changes, and just from a philosophical standpoint. We all sat up here last year debating different revenue sources, including grocery taxes, sales taxes, with the understanding, at least, the direction that I felt was given, or that, I believe in, is that those revenue sources are additional funds that the village needs, but they should also go towards some type of property tax relief or relief in other facets. So out of the additional revenue, some of that money, instead of balancing it dollar for dollar, we're looking at rolling some of that back so that there is, some relief in the future. So it's not all the sales tax money that's coming in is going right out back in expenses. So that's kind of the discussion I've been having at a higher level with the staff, and we're just got to work through some changes for the next round. But I think it's important to ask the departments certain questions about, big ticket items and changes in their department. So with that, I'll leave it to Chief Gutchow.
Thanks, Mayor. Jimmy, go to slide one if you don't mind. All right, slide. So just very briefly, I just wanted to give the board an idea of the commissioned expenditures that we're looking at this year. While the commission budget is not directly controlled by the PD, we are responsible for helping design and submit the requests on behalf of the commission. So there is an uptick in the commission budget this year. I know for our local commissions, almost $60,000 is a relatively hefty number, but there's a number of factors that are driving that. Predominantly, the sergeant's promotional list, which comes up every 3 years, is due. That accounts for almost half of that budget. It's roughly a $25,000 expense to bring a professional firm in and help administer that testing process. Other than that, it's just routine meeting expenses. The only other new additions for the police commission budget this year is they have requested that the village fund membership in the Illinois Fire and Police Commissioner Association, along with the annual conference training as well, which is probably not an unreasonable request. It's been a number of years since they've been able to attend. We have had some turnover within the commission, so they feel just to make sure they're doing the best job for our department and our community, they'd like to have some professional development. Next slide. So this is just kind of a brief snapshot of where the dollars to the police department come from. We're just a tick over $8.7 million this year in our total operating budget for the police department. It's about a $300,000 delta from last year. As you can see, about 7.4 of that goes directly to personal costs related to salaries and benefits. Overtime has remained relatively flat. There was a little bit of an uptick just based off what we saw last year to $370,000. And then there's our dispatch fees, training budget, which we'll talk about in a subsequent slide. And then our other operating costs. So those are the costs that provide the equipment and all the other things that we need to make sure that the police department continues to operate at about just a little tick over $500,000. Next slide. So in this year's budget, one of the requests that we're asking for is to expand our flock LPR system. The village currently has 5 operational cameras within our boundaries. They have really proven invaluable. It's been a force multiplier for us. I can't begin to even talk about the number of cases that we've been able to resolve as a result of these cameras. Everything from solving some of our larger retail theft cases that have happened at our larger box stores, some residential and business burglaries, hit and run cases, identifying fleeing and eluding suspects. Unfortunately, that's something that we deal with on a pretty regular basis now in today's climate. Recovery of stolen vehicles, and then assisting in a number of missing person cases. One of the cool things with the flock system itself is it's not a benefit only to us, but it also helps every other law enforcement agency in the state that we grant access to it. Likewise, they grant access to their camera too. So we have a very robust system by our membership with Flock. So we are in year 3 of a 5-year contract with Flock currently at about a cost of $12,500. And this year we're asking to add 2 additional cameras, which will bring that annual cost up to just under $19,000. A little bit higher this year because of the permitting fees and the engineering fees that are associated with it. No locations have been identified yet where those are going to go. That will all be data driven to help us choose the best idea to help kind of continue to shield our village from some of these things. Next slide. There was a budget request of $12,200 for a wellness program. So we had previously participated in a program called 1041. It turned out as the department's grown that it just didn't serve our needs any longer. So we're really transitioning to more of a holistic wellness program for our officers. In today's generation of police and the things that we're exposed to, it's no longer a luxury for us to provide a wellness program for our staff. It's really an expectation and a need. So some of the things that we're going to seek to fund with that is I'd like to implement annual mandatory wellness screenings at the Frontline Care Center. So as part of our ongoing care of our staff, all of our employees will have a 1-hour visit on an annual basis with a licensed clinical social worker or a psychologist or therapist. It's all confidential. There's no information that comes back to me other than the employee showed up just to verify that they were there. And then from there, if there's daily traumas that they need to be identified with, the Frontline Care Center will set up a continuity of care with them, again, confidentially. That runs through their insurance. If there's insurance or financial boundaries, then there is a grant that helps fund some of those initiatives too. So it's really about just taking care of the officers that are out there taking care of our public. We've decided to make the decision to extend it to all of our staff. There's the often exposures that our other staff see that you just don't think of. When you think of trauma, you think of police officers. But I could tell you some of the graphic image exposures that our support staff and records are exposed to, or some of our civilian officers, the CSOs as well. We want to make sure that we're taking care of them as well. So we intend to extend that to everybody. There's other training dollars associated with that. Financial wellness is a big one. As you know, we have a lot of very young officers within our department. Unfortunately, with these young officers, one of the first things they do is one of their first we'll call it gainful, large or good employing jobs. Last thing you want to see them do is start off their careers in debt. They like to run off and buy $100,000 trucks and the $3,000 payments to go with it. So it's an effort for us to provide some financial coaching for them early on to set them on a path to long-term financial wellness. Within the profession, unfortunately, divorce still ranks very high. A lot of those are driven by family matters, which ultimately a lot of times come back to home finances too. So we're looking to expand those programs, and those are just some of the things that those dollars will help cover. Next slide. So one of the largest upticks that you're going to see in our budget this year is training. You can see that We're asking for just over $95,000, which represents nearly 130% increase in our budget from last year. 65% of that is allocated to fund the police academy. We've had a number of discussions about retention challenges that the department's been facing. We're currently down 3 officers as of today. I just found out today that we're probably going to be losing 2 next month to another department. So that's going to represent a total of 5 academy dates that we're going to have to fulfill today. I have an upcoming likely retirement next year, which will drive a 6th. And then just based on forward thinking and looking ahead, we budgeted for 8 academy slots, which runs about $7,700 per officer. And if you just take a look at that chart, you can see where most of those dollars are going. There's police executive leadership development that's included as part of that. Supervision of police personnel, staff, and command, which is the kind of the premier Northwestern program that's for future leader development. And then there is about 15% of that budget does go to continued training. Most of those are unfunded mandates from the state that the local government and municipality has to pick up the cost for. Next slide. Our largest equipment request this year, we're asking for $274,000 or just over. $175,000 of that is to fund our taser replacement program. So currently our taser program consists of about 11 pool tasers that are distributed amongst our officers. So we're finding challenges when we have our vast number of community events on making sure that our officers are properly equipped with everything they need. So we have a pool that goes out to patrol, and then we have whatever's left goes to the details. So instances like the Shamrock Shuffle, the 4th of July, the large kickoff concert, that brings in almost all of our resources. And I really don't want to be put in a position where I have to pick and choose what tools the individual officers are going to have. Taser is now the predominant less lethal device that's out there on the market. It's very effective. It's overall very safe. And they've got a great reputation and a safety history. But really, we're looking to roll it out to make sure that every one of our officers is equipped with their own taser. Along with that also comes the ability for inventory control. Again, in the pool type program, we don't really have any say or knowledge of who's taking a taser out, at what time, who's it's with. So we can have an accidental discharge of that taser and have a very difficult time tracking down what that happened to. We do regular downloads of the taser devices. It would show a discharge, but going back and trying to figure out a month later who had that device provides to be a little bit troublesome. The CSOs have them as well, yes, sir. So tasers really moved to a bundling platform. The more you get, the more they include. Of course, it all comes at a cost, but we've really tailored it down. So this is going to cover all of our field personnel. We're going to redeploy the existing inventory that we have. The ones that are left serviceable, we've had some that have failed, are going to be redeployed to the administration. CSOs will have their own issued from that new deployment. So the new latest and greatest equipment is going to go to our frontline officers on the street, boots on the ground. Along with this comes all the necessary training from Taser. Currently, we pay for certifications on an annual basis. This is built into this package price. We currently pay for all of our cartridges, batteries, targets, all of those types of things. This is all bundled together, one lump sum price. And the real cool thing that we're getting along with this too is Taser's VR training goggles. So I was a little skeptical at first when I started talking to some of my colleagues about it, but then we sent some folks to go see it and they brought back some feedback, and it's incredible. So it puts you into a 3D immersive reality. So we can get training for our officers that we currently can't provide. Right now, it's very difficult for us to engage in de-escalation scenarios other than just practice play, shoot, don't shoot scenarios, reduction in force scenarios where you go from a higher level force to a lower level force, or increase in force scenarios. This taser does it all. So it goes beyond just training our staff in the use of the taser itself. It's going to allow us to help improve proficiency, improves our proficiency in de-escalation techniques, and as well as tactical proficiency with the weapon platforms that we carry as well. The additional remaining funds that go towards that, which is about $98,000, is going to cover some ongoing repair within our fleet. We have had a little bit of a reassessment of our fleet replacement program. The board was very generous a couple years back and allowed us to purchase 6 squad cars at one time, which was much needed due to the coming out of the pandemic. But along with that too came a little bit more reorganization, how we're going to do that. So we've reassessed how we're replacing cars. Previously, for as long as I can remember, the department just had this fixed schedule, and every patrol car would go at 5 years. Well, that patrol car might have 50, 60,000 miles on it in real world miles. Ours are a different story, but we're doing it based on condition and repair. So that's allowing us to keep the car in service longer. It's allowing us to keep the amount of dollars we're allocating towards capital replacement on the squads a little bit longer, but seat tears, steering wheel rips, all those kind of things happen. So we got to make sure we take care of those. Then the other stuff is just pretty much just run of the mill operating type things. We have to do radar repairs and calibrations, updates. The vehicle computers, previously the ETSB used to fund those computers when we were under Lake County ETSB, but now we're part of the JETSB through Lakecom. The municipality is responsible for that, so we have to start replacing those, and they come at a premium of about $5,500 a piece, I believe, at last count. That seemed about right, Mimi. Yeah. And then we have asked for 1 patrol squad with upfitting. Again, I think as Director Peterson had mentioned last time, this was came at a good savings to the village with our realignment of our program. We were slated to have between 3 and 4 cars, depending how you looked at that program. We've dropped it down to 1 this year, so it saved a couple $100,000 into the capital budget for the overall village. Next slide. So the last slide kind of represents our larger capital requests, mostly directed towards building maintenance. And we've had a lot of discussions at the board level about facility needs. So it's almost a 30-year-old facility. Things are aging, things are wearing out. Most of the stuff in the building is still existing. So it needs a little TLC and a little sprucing up to bring it up to the professional standards that our employees deserve and our community expects from us. So there's replacement of a lot of flooring. There's replacement of some furniture that, again, has been there for 30 years. The stair treads within both stairwells are worn out. The sandpaper-like safety strips that are on them to prevent slips and falls is about worn off too. So there's a lot of life safety issues that we need to address with that, in addition to just aesthetics throughout the building. And then, like there, you see the protective coating for the floors. So that was one thing that we're going to have to try to get into as we replace these floors moving forward, is taking the measurable steps necessary to extend the life of these things. So when we make the investments, we prolong them. A number of space improvements. So we've talked about how the PD has really used up every available inch within that building. I don't think I have I think I have a closet left that's not repurposed into something else, but everything is largely repurposed into office spaces or usable space within the building. So our last space to go is going to be the lower level break room. There's currently 2 break rooms within the police facility. Lower level one is predominantly historically used by the patrol guys, but we're going to have to consolidate everything upstairs because in 2026, it's hard to operate a police department without any formal interview room or interrogation room. We've been doing that now for a couple of years, following the last remodels that we've done. So that's going to allow us to repurpose that break room, continue addressing building security concerns. Now, every year I like to add a couple of access controls to move us from the keyed controls into the access controls that has a key and data log. So this year we're going to try to target the armory, which is still a key, again, a vital area to make sure you have secure access, the evidence room, which needs secure access, and then the west door still is a keyed access. So that'll allow some electronic access and controls to that, and address kind of our lingering problems with building access. And again, just overall addressing accessibility and functionality buildings. Again, it's a 2,000 space, needs a lot of updates, ADA issues throughout the building that we need to work on and try to resolve where we can. But again, when the quarterly capital discussions come up, I think it's time for us to really start talking about a space needs analysis for the police department, locker room capacities, office capacity issues. We have to figure out what's going to come next. So that'll be a discussion that we'll have with the board moving forward, so we can start trying to come up with a plan for what does the next large improvement for the police department look like. Do we add on to it? Do we abandon it, look for something else? But it's going to be a big number. I don't know if you read recently, but Libertyville, I believe, just inked their contract for their new police department. A little bit bigger PD than us, not by much, about $32 million. So it's going to be a big number when we get there. And I think it's important we start having it because, as we saw with Public Works, you wait too long, the prices just get more and more. So unless there's any questions, that will conclude my overview of our budget for the year.
Pierce?
When you're talking about space needs and everything, how is the impact of the Safety Act and the shifting of responsibilities to the local police departments from the county impacting you?
So it seems like every year, so there's some legislation that's rolled up from the state that adds to our unfunded mandate burden. So um, the list is exhaustive. I could provide that to the board if they'd like to see, but there's a rolling basis. There's certain criteria you have to meet on an annual basis, a 3-year basis, a 5-year basis, right? And it's a rolling calendar. So fortunately, we have a very good command team to stay on top of that. We haven't had any compliance issues like a lot of departments have, but all of that has not come with any additional funding dollars, right? Um, when you talk about the costs for just the trainings themselves, those are hard dollars, but there's a lot of soft costs that come along with it as well. Small department like us to send somebody to 2-3 days worth of training, it comes with a staff cost to send them there, but then it also comes back with the backfill hire back cost to make sure that we can hire back somebody on overtime to fill that officer's shift while they're gone. One of the big things that I've really put an emphasis on to try to mitigate some of that is to create a very robust internal training program. We've got some very talented people in the department, and we've capitalized upon that. We have 2 master tactical instructors. There's a few dozen of those in the state. We happen to have 2 of them here. So we've been able to do a lot of tactical training. We've implemented a annual EVOC training, first aid training, CPR training, high-risk traffic stops training. The list goes on and on to the internal trainings that we've done. We're able to do those in-house, which reduces some of those costs too. But it's also helped us build a very good reputation. We're at the point now where we get Lake County Forest Preserve calls us and says, "Hey, when you guys doing your active threat training, we'd like to participate in it because you guys put on a good program." I think when we did our last active shooter training, we had 4 other police departments that came and were a part of it. So we're kind of pooling our resources to help each other out to mitigate costs a little bit. We have a couple instructors. They send a couple of theirs, and it's all the folks that we're going to be working with if we have an incident anyway. So it kind of gives us some good exposure at how each other does things.
Still being required to hold prisoners longer instead of transferring them?
Yes.
Like we used to transfer 20 years ago when I was a young kid.
Yeah. So, whether it was a blessing for a number of years to have our own holding facility and lockup. It's become more of a challenge now, unfortunately. The only good thing is that with the reforms in the Safety Act, I can tell you that the number of people that we're holding on an overnight basis is plummeted. I would imagine that we've probably seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 80% decrease in the number of people we're locking up. So it's become far less burdensome because they're eligible for the A3 releases under the Safety Act.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Chief? Dennis? Will you do Public Works next?
Yep.
Evening. Going into this year, I wanted to give you a snapshot of how the organizational chart currently looks in Public Works, and you'll see in the other slide how that represents. We have, I believe, 4 vacancies up there, and then we do have a new additional staff. The GIS coordinator, Ross Kaminsky. So hopefully within this budget year, we will fill the vacancies. It's been a struggle over the past couple of years, but that is reflected within the budget. Next slide. Awesome. I always like to show this slide. Many of you seen it before. This is just to highlight that PW works with all the departments. We have a lot of different tasks that we're involved with, but we absorb a lot of cost, even though it may pertain to a certain department other than Public Works. So whether it's vehicle maintenance or special events, Christmas lights, we usually absorb those costs, and just like to share that as a reminder. Next slide, please. Some of the changes operationally that we're looking at for this year, increased cost. The PW vehicles that we maintain, we're seeing a slight increase in maintaining those vehicles along with our dump trucks. It's been trending over the years, so I've bumped those budget line items up a little bit, so we're not going over budget. The PD, we're looking at bumping up about 4,000 and the maintenance of the dump trucks about 7,000. Seeing the trend in fuel and fluids, I've increased that number also as a safety measure to hopefully stay within budget. The same with salt. Salt has been increasing over the past few years with the shortage that we experienced this winter, not necessarily impacting us, but other communities. And then, of course, fuel is also an indicator that will, rise salt prices for ships that bring it in on the barges and then trucking it to our facility. Believe I increased the fuel by 9,000 and the salt by roughly 12,000. Some of the other impacts, not just at the wastewater treatment plant, but we are seeing a trend there is the electricity cost through ComEd, even some of the natural gas costs. So those have been increased across the water department, sanitary department, and the wastewater treatment plant. Operationally, in the wastewater treatment plant, the facility is, nearing its age. I think it's going on about 20 or 15 years now, 16 years. So a lot of the equipment is hitting its lifespan, and we're seeing a higher repair on the pumps and electrical system. Jason does a great job at managing it, but we're going to need to increase those costs so we can cover any maintenance items or repairs or replacement. I mentioned the GIS staff. Ross will be coming over, his salary does, and then some of his software cost for maintaining the GIS system is now coming over to Public Works. The WRT, which is the contract that we have for well 8, 9, and 10 in Clublands, that's specific for radium removal out of 2 of the wells. We don't have much control over it, and every so often they bump that contract up. So we're seeing an increase there also. New and one-time cost, or maybe more of a long-term cost that we may not see for another 20 or 30 years. Potential introduction of a consultant service to assist with public works projects. It's not fully identified how that will work or if it will, but we'll work through the process, and I can further explain, or maybe administrator can, on that item. The wastewater treatment plant clarifier, there's a drain valve that is about 20 feet down next to one of the clarifiers that has failed. We're hoping to maybe do the repair in-house, but we're having some difficulties with some of the existing utilities that are at the treatment plant and the conditions of the soil. So that isn't within the budget. I think it's about 125,000 that's estimated that we didn't anticipate doing. The facility master plan, that is a large cost, about 150, 175,000. You do those about every 20 to 30 years. We're hoping to freshen it up, as the current one that we have is very old. A lot of times those master plans will identify capital items. It'll lay out how the plant maybe should be operating now from what it was determined by the engineers that constructed it, because we are seeing a difference in how it was intended to be operated and then how we are now. So it'll help us with that. Also, if we go for any IEPA loans, they require a master plan as part of the application submittal, which isn't out of the question. Is if we kind of grow as a community, we're somewhat at capacity. This will help identify if we truly are, or if we need to change operationally how our inflow and how we deal with it, and how we utilize the aeration tanks or the clarifiers and so forth. Very useful. And we hope to start that process this budget season. One item I didn't have on here that I would like to bring up, because I didn't mention any capital. I believe there are some capital slides later on, is the PW building. There within the budget, I did work with the finance director. We just opened bids for North Avenue. I had a number in there of 250. The paving contractor gave us the lowest bidder is 210,000 currently. They will go through a scope with FQC and myself to determine if they are fully aware of what the project that they bid and have everything included and qualified. I believe they are. I believe they're aware of what the project was bid out to be and incorporated it all, because the two other bids were about just over 400,000. So it was a little alarming that there was quite that big of a difference. But where I'm going at with this is, we're on track with the budget that we set last year, and I divided the money because we knew the project was going to go into fiscal year 27. And when we went into it, I pulled aside or said, I'll use the storage bin money as kind of a contingency depending on what happens with the road projects, because we didn't know that that project for the road, Lake County DOT was going to require us to do the repaving and the widening and the restriping. Now we're to a point where we know a firm number with a bid, and then some slight engineering, which is that gap that I'd like to keep from the 210 to the 250. The county's requiring us to have an on-site engineer during the construction. So I've included the budget that we originally started with and then added the 250,000. So that is added in there. I'd like to, it's up to the board decision to keep it that way, but I did want to highlight that within one of the changes that I made going into fiscal year 27. Next slide, please. This is a expense overview of general water, sewer, treatment plant. The water and sewer are two separate accounts, and then treatment plants, it's all, even though the water and sewer fund funds those. I'd just like to give a brief overview of the history from fiscal year 24, our actuals, fiscal 26 budget, year-end projection, and then going into 27, and just kind of show and explain the numbers, how steady we maintain. I try not to increase it too much. There's probably areas where we do need to increase, but we're maintaining, I think, the community pretty well, and we'll keep on seeking those opportunities as maybe more funds become available. But I just wanted to highlight the steadiness we've had. There is a couple upticks, but those were in water and sewer. We had some major repairs. We were down staff that reduced us. And then going into this year, we're looking in the general fund for the public works to fill some vacancy, the introduction of a new position, and then that consultant fee. I think the consultant fee was $100,000. So that represents those drastic changes. Next slide, please. Operationally, just operationally and goals, always keeping at the top of our list is responding to our citizens and fulfilling those requests in a timely manner, maintaining our parks and amenities, providing clean operations for all the other departments, including our own. Again, timely repairs, not just for our residents, but also for our village buildings, for other departments' vehicles, routine maintenance, public works. We hope to complete that. It is on time. Our road program, that's a large road program. I hope to bring that to you hopefully at the next village board meeting for award. And improvements to our SCADA. I really hope to continue that and expand it. I think our sanitary sewer system, our lift stations, really need to have an introduction with SCADA, so we can get away from coming in and immediately trying to get to that lift station. If we can pull up on an iPad and monitor the levels and operate the pumps from someone's home or office, that'll cut down on overtime, false calls, so forth. Our fleet schedule purchase, that's laid out within the capital plan, hoping to follow that. And we also take into consideration, like Chief mentioned, we're evaluating our equipment yearly. If we notice that there's a vehicle that's giving us trouble, maybe you know, we'll have that at its 10-year lifespan for a truck. We'll try and get rid of that, but we may extend it if it's a decent truck, decent condition. You know, it might go another 11, 12 years, being conscious of the funds and other departments with the capital. Lead service line elimination program, that's going to start next year. That's a very involved program. There's going to be a lot of, I think, discussions over this year, maybe some small financial impacts as we work with an engineer to develop a program that'll go out to bid. And whether we take that program fully on the responsibility of the village, or we look at a cost share program. The IEPA is pretty strict about the replacement of those lines. Once you disturb them, you know, they don't like to see the homeowner side not being replaced. So hopefully further discussions on, you know, that cost, what it's going to look like, where we're going to start this process, you know, first. There are a lot on Main Street from 173 to North Avenue. That's going to be a difficult one within the state route. The water main's in the road. Maybe we look at considering a water main replacement, you know, with that. That's another item within the budget, but it's more forecasted for the future. It's in the northbound lane. Yeah. And then the treatment facility master plan. That's all I have, unless you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right, next up, we have Parks and Recreation.
Wednesday. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Here's a brief overview, a high-level overview of the Parks and Recreation Department proposed revenue and expenses. You can probably see that this looks different than previous years, and I'm very thrilled to explain why. So we can go to the next slide. The administration budget is requesting some changes. You can see there's a small revenue piece there. A new initiative that we started this fall is facility rentals at the Parks and Recreation Building and the Scout House and the Dolly Spear and Community Center. So that estimate does not reflect a very large increase in what those facility rentals could produce as a revenue stream because the expenditures that are proposed and the expenses there are would hinge on that revenue going up. So it's a conservative revenue estimate and would potentially get larger should we invest in the proposed expenses to spruce up that facility a little bit, get some landscaping out there. I've got window washing, hopefully. It came in way under budget when I got that quote. So that's very good to, you know, people can see out the windows and it looks beautiful, have the floors buffed out and things like that. So additionally, in the expense increase, I am proposing a pretty significant amount of contractual services such as athletic field maintenance, building contractors, again, to come in and do things like the floors, you know, they're pretty filthy and it would be great to have them stripped and waxed and, you know, make it an appealing visual for potential renters and our own programs. Some general landscaping around our parks, so not just at the Dolly Spearing Center, but at some of our parks that could use a little bit more TLC. Also included in the expenses is a $22,000 expense for playground safety audits. A playground safety audit is sort of the high tier level of checking out our playgrounds to see if they're meeting the standards and expectations that are safe to play for children. That would be a low frequency inspection. After that, the next level is either annual or biannually a certified playground safety inspection by a certified playground safety inspector. We currently do not have one on staff. I did budget for a course. It's about $700 or $800 to have a certified playground safety inspector go through that course and pass it. However, having a person on staff to be able to do that, they would then be able to go out, and you wouldn't necessarily in the future require that playground audit. So a playground audit is a great place to start to say, okay, this needs immediate attention versus this is something we can prioritize in future years, things like that. So that's a whole lot of the increase in addition to the in previous years, a lot of the program staff, full-time type programming staff, Kristen, Grace, and now Lori, who's our admin, they were broken up into different areas of the budget, so into the different accounts. And all of the expenses related to full-time staff are now in this account, and that would be their salaries, but also the related benefits for all of them. So, and myself. So that looks different, but it comes out of the other places and evens out, comes out in the wash, so to speak. Thank you. The Aqua Center, this revenue budget is conservative. I know we're in April right now, but with the weather we've had recently, we've got outdoor work happening there. So pool painting is underway. We are still working on getting the sand filter replaced. All of those things need to happen before we can fill the pool with water, and then we can schedule training for our lifeguards and our guest services staff, which are the folks who work in the admissions and concessions area. So everything kind of is hanging on the weather and the completion of those projects. So the conservative estimate there is to account for potential loss in revenue due to a delayed opening. I am very confident that it won't happen, but you never know. Half the town is underwater, so we don't know what's coming. So there is that conservative estimate. The expenses, it's generally pretty much the same. There was a pretty significant cost increase to chemicals this current year, about $8,000 or $9,000 more than we had anticipated. So we're anticipating that to hopefully even out and stay where it's at. But chemical costs, all costs, as you all know, are increasing. Additionally, we lost our, what I had called previously an aquatics coordinator, sort of a seasonal pool manager, and several of the what we called then managers, the seasonal folks that would come in and be sort of the manager on duty. So without that historical knowledge of how did this work and how did, there's not a whole lot of records that I can find. So I got an aquatics consultant who has started with us already. He has 30 years of professional experience. He's helping me screen lifeguard applicants and leadership applicants, and he'll be with us consulting for the whole entire summer through September for a pretty great deal, but that is about an $8,000 expense there. And those are the real only like increases in expenses for the Aqua Center budget. I am going to do a concession price evaluation to make sure we're meeting the industry standards for revenue on those kinds of things, that we're not too cheap, but we're also not too expensive, so that we're right in line for our area. And we are investing in tap to pay technology for the pool, which I believe will increase our concession sales and our admission sales quite a bit. So those are on order and on their way soon. For general recreation programming, so these are the classes that you've all heard of and talked about before. So like our FC Lake County soccer program, they're a contractor. The Hot Shots programming, they're a contractor. adult fitness, we have a contractor who teaches those. So but that's all in the general recreation programming area. The other programs in that area that we are expanding and seeing very good registration trends is our Schools Day Out program, Parents Night Out, Kids in the Kitchen, contractual classes are performing well. So there is a pretty significant increase in revenue here, about $15,000 from the previous year, because we are also launching a flag football league that has opened up registration, and we're beginning to push that out to Jim's written a press release. We're going to be getting some more advertising on social about that as well. So that's going to be very exciting. So if that goes as planned, that could generate about $12,000 to $15,000 in revenue. Expenses are not going up as much as you might think based on that. And that's because we've done a better job of getting part-time staff paid out of the places that they need to. So it kind of looks not as I don't know. It's not as big of an increase as you might think, but there is also in this account budgeted for our program guide production and mailing of that, which is about a $22,000 expense for 2 guides per year. So if you're considering that, you're obviously never going to make up the cost of the program guide in full in this account, at least not at this year. But if you were to take that out, the revenue over expenses is pretty significant considering we're still not in the hole there. So that's good. Okay, Jim, thank you. Summer day camp. We've had such great feedback about our summer day camp. I can't tell you the number of emails and phone calls and wonderful things that I'm hearing from our community about all the hard work that our day camp staff is doing, led by their fearless leader, Grace Ford, who happens to be here tonight. So we are anticipating about a $13,000 increase in revenue. We are trending about 12% ahead in revenue generation for this coming summer than we did during the same period last year. So that is very encouraging. The trend is that people who are registering for more upfront, which generally speaking, in day camp world, means that folks trust us. They have faith in the program. They enjoyed it. They're not waiting to see, oh, is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? So we're pretty excited about that. This year, the fee did increase by $1 a day. And expenses, we are proposing a $10,000 increase. Most of that is in relation to transportation, our contracted transportation services for field trips. Gas is very high. And, of course, they bake that fee, that price right into the quote that they give us. We are also going to be investing in some replacement materials and supplies. We need basketballs and dodgeballs and bats and, wiffle balls, things like that. Things for the kids to play with that last a longer time than craft supplies, which we have plenty of. Okay, next slide, please. Our special events. So our departmental special events are the ones that, and I organize them this way because it's the way it makes sense in my brain. So hopefully it'll make sense to you when I explain it. These are registration based. They're sort of in-house. We don't have to coordinate with other departments. We don't need public works, and we don't need police and, things like that. So those are some of the events up there: the Princess Dance, the Mother-Son Bowling, the Shamrock Shuffle, although we do coordinate with others for that. It is registration based, and it doesn't have to do necessarily with our downtown business district. The Easter egg hunts, mother-daughter bingo, things like that. We are increasing the revenue. We're anticipating an increase in revenue for that. Although expenses are also going up, that's due to us adding in part-time wages. So previously, part-time wages for any of our big special events or, small special events or whatever it is, people would clock in and it would just be like, oh, they work day camp, so they would just get charged to day camp. But we have worked out with Lori and finance, how to get those people paid from the correct accounts so that we can see a real um, cost versus, well, we might have paid $5,000 for special event staffing from the pool. Now it will all be going to the right place so we can really see what these events, both fee-based and non-fee-based, are costing us. Okay. Overall, expenses for these special events in the department are going down. Next slide, please. Our community special events are the ones that are listed here. This is anything that's free theoretically, and the wine walks. And that's because it concentrates on our downtown business district. So revenue is it's going up, but it's also been reorganized, so it's not really fair to compare from previous years. The revenue there is for registration for wine walks, for 4th of July donations and sponsorships, the township portion of the fireworks display, and also any sponsorship that we get for all of these events. So we're anticipating that being 143,000 for this year. And expenses are up, and that's due to a number of things. Prices are going up. It's Thursday. The kickoff concert fee has different needs this year than it has previously. Our Harvest Fest is we were jam-packed at Harvest Fest last year. It was fabulous. And if the weather continues to do that, I think we're going to be jam-packed again, which is going to need a higher level of support and higher expectations from the community. So there's just expenses that are going out that will hopefully get people to come out into the community and enjoy these events. So I think that's it. I didn't write any more notes for, oh, and we also have the part-time wages added into those expenses as well. So overall, revenue, go ahead, sorry. Revenue is at 786 and change, and overall expenses proposed is about 1.7. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Steve Pierce?
I'm sorry. First thing, I've got a whole bunch of notes here. As you've been talking.
Good.
First thing you mentioned was a playground safety inspector, or getting somebody trained on that.
Mhm.
I noticed in Dennis's slide presentation that he has full-time people assigned to the parks and stuff. Why would we not have our public works people doing the safety inspections on a regular basis of our parks facilities to make sure that they're maintaining them, that they're maintaining them to the proper level, instead of finding assigning. I watch you guys and you're working your butts off at these events and stuff, but
My understanding, and Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, they do inspections, but they're not, they don't have the training and the initials that says certified playground safety inspector. So I budgeted for that to happen,
so that they could get those, or just somebody in the village.
potentially. We haven't figured out the details of
Okay.
who or how that would happen yet. I just wanted to make sure it was in.
Well, it
in
just
place.
struck me that would be a public works thing, but I could be wrong.
Sure.
I did notice that your programs, they're making a profit, and summer camp's making a profit. The pool's killing us, and our special events are killing us.
Yeah, and just a note on the pool. In the recreation world, we say, like a boat, the pool is a large hole in the ground that you pour money into. And we're actually, like, while we are losing money, it's pretty expected to lose money. We are not losing nearly as much as a lot of pools in our area, which is good and still not great.
Are we trending to lose more? Or are we trending to lose less?
We're trending to lose less.
Okay. And then just one other thing. Some of the numbers you had in your presentation didn't
Yeah.
match the numbers that were provided in the budget.
I noticed that while I was doing it. So I don't know if it was a typo, but they're not too badly off, like 2,000 on one. I
Yeah.
saw,
It's like
yeah.
315 revenue or something for the Camp Crayon. No, that was for, yeah, for the summer camp. was
Summer camp.
15 compared to 299. That's like
Yeah.
a 15K slot.
Yeah, and it was an update. So the number that I'm proposing is 315. So I just got to make sure that Michael and I are on the same page. But this presentation and his budget don't talk to each other.
That's all I got right now.
Thank you very much.
Question?
How are the hot shot classes doing? I know there was discussion about that. Are they getting canceled? Are they filling?
I have a list of all of them that canceled throughout this year, and then the ones that ran, how they performed, like the registration numbers and things like that. Hold on. We had in this fiscal year, where is it? 239 kids take register for hot shots classes. I would say that's pretty good. Mhm.
Yep.
We've got the largest gathering area. Why don't we ask?
All right, yeah, or sticks. Yeah, or sticks. All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Up, we got finance department.
Good evening. So as far as personnel staff, nothing's changed. I'm still a contractor, so no finance director listed in the account. The budget for finance is not a whole lot going on with it. It's showing 1.8% increase over the prior year. I could tell you that the little additional for the training, because as a contractor, you weren't paying for my training whatsoever. But with the hire of the senior accountant, that's what's increasing the training there. And partially what that difference is the tax increment financing training. She's actually there right now. So, everybody needs to be kept up to speed. And with the tips that we have, it's best that, she keeps her education up with that. Under the accounting services, you see a pretty big decrease there. That's from the elimination of a Cesian. The remaining expenditures in the accounting services relate to the audit, actuarial reports, and GFOA certification. Under the payroll services, you see it from 15,500 to 31,500. The B2E software is included in that payroll services number. Should ultimately move it to the software, but I let it stay. And there's 16,000 for a Cesian. We plan on eliminating a Cesian. We're going to do a deep dive into the payroll processing in July, and should be able to eliminate the Cesian contract in August, September. The contract payments, that's pretty much me and a copier lease. I think I take up the majority of it. Under the computer software, where it was 13,000, that was actually 30% of the cost of G-Works, $43,000. And this year, we actually are taking on 75% of the BSNA's 35,000. So all in all, there's an $8,000 savings in the change from software G-Works to BSNA. We just took up a larger percentage of it. Under the goals, so Becky's working towards transitioning to the finance director. Ultimately, that's decisions to be made, but we're working that direction. So I'm ultimately training her throughout the year. So that takes up some of my time as well as her time. Ultimately, towards the tail end of the year, there will be a new senior accountant would be hired and trained. So that's going to end up taking up some time. We're working on the monthly treasurer's report. Hope to have that out soon. I know there's a few different ideas and versions Becky's been working on. Payroll processing, workflow, I mentioned that for July. Eliminating Acision, I mentioned. We do, all the departments have a whole record retention destruction program that we need to work hard on. There's a lot left over there in the old village hall, and we need to resolve that. So that's going to take up a lot of our efforts. Debt collections, it's been a few years since the village has worked with debt collections, so we're going to bring that back. It's through the state of Illinois. Look to do a better job with accounts payable bill, sort of an enhanced report. And it goes along with, there's what I call the Who Me reports to the directors, where it will show, like for the bill runs, it would say like, this is how much the bills are from each of the line items. This is what was spent year to date. So here's your total, and then how that's comparing to the budgeted number. So you could kind of tell when you're approving bills that you'll know up front, like, is this going over budget? Is this within the budget number? So consider that an enhanced report, and we're trying to work through. It's all about pulling the data from the BSNA software, and it's more, we're trying to get them to be able to create the reports so that we don't have to create our own custom. So John Kickert, he's been working with BSNA trying to solve this for us. Posting the AP bill. Posting the AP bill report to the website. This relates to the FOIA request. We get constant requests, and it all runs through Lori's office. But there's a lot of redacting, and so we're trying to work out a solve that when she requests the different reporting that we do, that we don't have to turn it over to Lori and have her do all this redacting. And if it can all work out and we dump it to the website, then these different companies are asking for this information. We could just direct them to the website. We don't have to go through. Some will say, well, I want it for the last 6 months. The next one comes along and says, I want it for the last year and last year and a half. Every one of those costs us extra work. Whereas if we did it every bill run and work it into our process, and it's able to do the right redacting for us, maybe we could get it out to the website and cut out a little work for us and Lori. BSNA accounts payable. This is a John Kickert item as well. I think he's going to enjoy it. It's AI. There's no cost to it. It was in the software that we purchased. So basically what happens is when they're scanning the invoices, the AI system actually, when it brings it up on the screen, it'll bring up the invoice, and the AI pulls the data from the invoice and populates the fields. And all we have to do is just confirm the fields are all correct or override some of the information if needed. But it should make the accounts payable more streamlined, more efficient. That'll free up some time with John, and then we'll find more work for John to do. That's pretty much all I had for finance.
Questions? All right, thank you very much.
All right, Mark couldn't be here tonight due to a personal conflict, so I'm going to cover community development as best I can. So Mark's a contractor, as you all will recall. The GIS coordinator position has been reallocated from community development over to public works. And then we're actively working on contracting for building inspection and additional plan review services as well.
Go back that one slide back, please. Yes.
There's 2 people in the department right now.
Is Ross retiring?
He's moving over to public works.
Okay.
So same individual, same here, same guy here doing GIS, just being allocated, salary being allocated out of public works. All right, this reviews really community development, activities, zoning, entitlements, planning, and building. They also are responsible for the code enforcement, which we'll talk about a little more in just a minute. And then they oversee specific programs such as the facade rebate program. And then a couple years here of building permit processing. So last year they processed 539 permits and completed 986 inspections. You can see they've got a couple peaks and valleys here throughout the year. And then this reflects the revenue growth, this is both residential and commercial permitting expected to be at $237,000 in revenue. That reflects the growth of the community, the things we are working on, the land use, that we expect to see. And it also reflects the streamlined building permit process and reduced building permit fees. So, we expect to see that really driven by the community's growth. And then, as I mentioned, the Community Development Department is responsible for code enforcement, as well as the police department is where it has historically, the salary for our code enforcement officer has come from. So we are reorganizing that, and 70% of our code enforcement officer's salary will now be coming out of the Community Development Department, and 30% will be in the police department. We think that better reflects the actual code enforcement work that's being conducted. And then goals, the department will implement a business licensing program. So this is a code revision and a process we'll work through to better track our businesses that are coming into town. Looking to revise the facade rebate program. So just adjustments to the existing program so it can be better utilized by businesses. Reinvigorate and restart the rental inspection program that we have on the books. And then there's several sections of the zoning ordinance that we'd like to update this year. Many of those you're familiar with: window signage, electronic message boards, but others as well that we're working on that we will be bringing back to the board after it goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then, as I mentioned, streamlining the building permits, and pursuing several redevelopment opportunities that are again reflected in that revenue growth. But you know them, some of them and more to come, but we've got the TIF districts. We've got a lot of inquiries on different land sites in town. So excited to continue to work towards bringing development for each of those sites. And then in terms of expenses, very modest here, but purchasing new code books around the 2024 code editions. So we need to have those code books on file, and then a couple purchases of some clothing. And that really highlights the changes in expenses for the department. Be happy to answer any questions.
I've got one, Andrew, but I'm not certain if it falls under economic development here with Mark or not, but on page 163, at the bottom of the page, there's a line item addressed advertising economic development, and it's broken down into two parts. 5,000 for marketing, and then another 20,000 for digital. Do
Yes.
you have any insight on that you could give?
Yeah, Jim will talk about that, but it's $25,000 for a marketing campaign, which is flat year over year. What we are doing though is adjusting that $20,000 digital is so same dollars but new programs. And so Jim will talk about that more in his presentation.
Okay, then
But that's
I'll
what-
wait for his presentation just a second.
Thank you.
What's the BNOT property?
Oh, there's a property that's just west of the car wash on 173. Between the car wash and the Kia dealership, there's a 9.8 acres of land that's like a rectangular strip. And that's that property. Bannock property.
Is that the one that butts up next to the little strip that Hieronymus owned? Maybe James and Jimmy would know this because you won't know who Hieronymus is, but
I believe that it is.
it is, okay.
Yeah.
I know where it is now. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
You've passed it 100,000 times probably.
I've had that piece of property drilled into my head by Mr. Hieronymus years ago. And his little plants that he would plant, the rare plants that were endangered to stop us from doing things. He was yeah.
We all love plants.
It's earth answer, it's a happy earth, right? Happy earth.
All right, Jim,
Should we wait for the mayor or?
let's continue.
Well, good evening, Village Board. This is the exciting part of the budget. So the administration and elected officials and pretty much the village hall budget here. So this part of the budget is broken down to the non-departmental and elected officials. So that's budget items related to you guys and also budget items that don't quite fit in any place else in the budget. Also the village administration, which is our village administrator, myself, and also the economic development function is found in this part of the budget. And then Lori in the village clerk's office is here as well, so she'll handle her part. And then we'll have IT. Amy's here to present the IT portion of the budget, and then I'll come back up for the communications part of the budget. So Trustee Martinez, to address your question, one of the new programs that we're bringing in, and actually before I get into this, a little bit of historical context with our economic development marketing and some of the other advertising that we do that's part of the communications budget. Over the past 4.5 years or so that I've been here and the village has had a marketing and communications position. We initially started off with an advertising budget that covered all the advertising. So that's, when we advertise our events like the wine walk or parades or that sort of thing, or the concerts, that was part of the budget. And then also when we would do promoting the downtown businesses at Christmas time or some of the other more economic development type advertising was all lumped together. And I was telling the village administrator, truth be told, all of the marketing that we do is really geared towards economic development to boost the visibility of our village, to make it easier when our village administrator calls a developer to bring somebody to town to invest in our community, the higher profile the village, the easier sell we are. So we've done I think we've done a pretty good job increasing the visibility of our village over the last 4.5 years. And that's what a lot of this marketing is. So I think it was last year, we split the marketing budget where in the communications part of the budget, we'll have advertising again for Wine Walk. Our kickoff concert, part of the sponsorship deal that we have with the money coming in is there's a radio component to that. And we usually partner with the radio partner for the kickoff concert. Last year it was 97.1 The Drive. This year it's Will Rock. And just the exposure we get off of the additional mentions and promos and everything that go along with that with the kickoff concert is makes it worth it. So that's the event part of the budget that's in communications. This, when we split it, we have that part of the budget, and then this advertising is geared more towards promoting downtown businesses when they do the shop and play, when we do printing or other things that have a direct impact to the businesses downtown. One of the things that would fall under here, if we wanted to do marketing like Bedford Park, or there's other towns, Elk Grove Village does industrial marketing where they try and bring industry to town to develop like we would out by Fisher Paper. So this in particular, this year, what we're doing, we heard a lot from the downtown businesses that we're missing the boat promoting our village on digital media. So I've worked with Hubbard Radio, which is the Drive. They have a digital sales agency as part of their sales team, and also Odyssey Radio, which is US 99 and WVPM. I've worked with both of their digital departments to come up with ideas where we could increase our digital footprint. And if you go to the next page, when we advertise digitally, this is the area that we really want to hit. It's Kenosha County, it's Lake County, it's McHenry County, and Northern Cook County. We want to target affluent people in that area that want to come here to eat, want to come here for recreation. A lot of those people in the summertime visit the chain. In this digital footprint actually captures anybody that visits the chain. We could target with our advertising to promote downtown for destination for dinner. So when 60,000 people on a weekend or whatever the numbers are, go to the chain for recreation, we're on their radar for, to spend money when they get back to land. So the marketing options that we were looking at to do a full year campaign and really dive 100% in, we're looking at like $60,000 to $80,000 over a year. So what we wanted to do was keep this part of the budget flat. So $20,000 gives us an opportunity to kind of test it out around specific things, really in the summertime when there's more people coming up this way. And we're looking at either meta advertising through Facebook and Instagram. There's also behavioral advertising where if you type in where to go to eat in Lake County, our ads pop up in Google, or if somebody visits, a restaurant in Lake County, you guys have had the thing where you visit a website, then all of a sudden ads for that website pop up on every other website that you go to. That would be kind of the same type of advertising we'd be looking at. And another type of advertising with Odyssey Radio is using some of their personalities at US 99 and B96 to do TikTok advertising where they would have somebody come to town, talk about how awesome Antioch is, and then that goes viral and that gets people into town. And this is based upon the feedback we got from the business community. This is where they really wanted us to spend our efforts digitally. So that's where the $20,000 this year is to promote or to promote commerce in our community, via the internet. And that's really the main push that we're going to have here. There's an additional $5,000 that's part of this line item that is for WGN to come back. A couple of years ago, we did WGN, did a Antioch Day. I have that planned for November. So kicking off the holiday shopping season, we'll get some pretty good exposure on WGN radio. So based on that, did I answer your question or? Yeah. Okay, good. Yes.
Why don't other towns go on the radio? Why are we not just all digital? Facebook plan for that, what you're talking about. I don't have radio. Listen to radio. How many other people are like me that don't listen to radio?
Well,
You guys got the first, specifically in the car, right time. I haven't listened to radio in 10 years. Howard Stern is in that radio because he claims radio is dead. TikTok ads, meta ads. You can put your money and you can get that specific money audience. They'll do it for you at a less of a cost. I just don't see a radio ads working. It's passive advertising. It's pretty much a dead market now.
So I tried to come to that same conclusion that you did, and radio still has, to reach the largest audience, radio is still the most cost efficient compared to digital. And I'll use TikTok as an example. One of the shops in town had an influencer come into their shop and they did a TikTok video, and it brought in, a bunch of younger people into their business. And they were all excited because this TikTok influencer had 10,000 followers. And when we're on radio, like last year when we were on the drive, we literally hit millions of people in the Chicago market. Most of those people didn't come to our kickoff concert, but the people in that audience have, the top of mind recognition of Antioch is we're a much bigger deal than they thought previous to that.
That's propaganda by a radio station. We hit millions of people, but nobody else does radio. It just, they'd be better off with wires and telephone poles. I hate radio advertising.
But I think that's part of, that's why, I think that's why this year we're exploring the digital. You know, we didn't want to go all in at the $60,000 number.
I got Spotify. If it was a Spotify advertisement, I'd be going, well, that might be different. But radio, nobody listens. Nobody listens to radio. It's just, they want you to believe it, but I don't even have it programmed in my car, any radio stations.
So the bulk of this line item though is digital.
Yeah, so that's what this is, digital.
Not to be negative.
When we did WGN radio, we got a really good response off that last time. And also one of the nice things with this, on this line item, pairing up with WGN radio, there's a lot of digital components that go with that we're able to share on our social media. It's the same thing when we do a PR piece and it's in the newspaper. Nobody reads the newspapers,
I
but,
didn't know there's no newspapers, same thing, passive.
but what happens is they put the article online, we're able to share it on our Facebook, they share it on their social media, and it's much more of a digital asset. And
You have to spread Tribune.
not
You
necessarily, no.
can't look at it.
Well,
I looked at the article.
well, and the value comes from when we posted on our Facebook page and somebody sees the Chicago Tribune wrote an article about Antioch. To me, that's a big win because it makes us look higher profile than,
Hope you read it.
I do listen. Road 8 hours out of the day, working the other time. I'm at customer sites. I got the radio in my ears. I do listen to radio. I listen to iHeartRadio a lot when I'm driving through Antioch nowadays because of all these solar farms putting their EMF emitting wires up in the air. I can't. My radio's all static in Antioch now, but I do listen to a lot of radio, and I do listen to towns advertising. You know, somebody a long time ago told me in sales when trying to convince me to sell contracts that you have to just keep filling the bucket, and you just keep filling the bucket, and eventually the bucket overflows, and you start making those contracts because you're filling the bucket. And I think our approach here is we're trying to fill the bucket and cover every angle we can as much as possible. And some people don't listen to radio. Some people don't TikTok. I don't TikTok. I think it's a communist plot. So
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So yeah.
There's things I don't do that other people do. So you're trying to touch every base with people.
Sure. Well, it's like I just want to get hung up on the 25,000 we're talking about here in the scope of 22 million. But Trustee Bluthart.
On advertising that we've done in the past for what we're doing in the future, do you have a system in place to measure the results? What's our return on that, and how do we know that what we're putting in on this is going to be paying off, and how do we measure it so that we know we did it? Maybe we need to do more next time, or maybe we don't do that. How do you have a system in place so that you can start tracking that as we make these expenditures?
so unfortunately, we don't sell pizza or we don't have it, a lot of this is intangible. So we have to rely anecdotally on the feedback we get from either residents or the shop owners when people come in and they say that they heard something about Antioch on the radio. We also see, I would say the attendance that we have at our concerts is a large part due to our radio partners. The drive brings in people from all over the Chicago area. Last year to see the Marshall Tucker Band, we had 5,000 or 6,000 people at the band shell. That was with our radio partner. So I see people are listening. A few years ago when we did Light FM at Christmas time, I had everybody and their grandmother give me feedback that they heard Antioch on the radio. But there's not a definitive way we could tie an exact ROI. Part of it, we want the direct response of people coming up here shopping, but there's no way to.
That's not a true statement. You can put in, sign up for a raffle ticket, have one of the business sponsor it. So they're filling out a form online, whether they hear it on radio, Facebook. There's a way to make passive advertisement so you can track it digitally. You gotta have some form of tracking advertising. You can't just throw money in a bag and say, well, it's just gonna work. That's passive advertisement. You gotta have some reason for them to fill out a form, do a lottery, do something. Otherwise, it's just throwing money away. Might as well that's why I said, put them on the telephone poles.
I know with our wine walks, there's a direct correlation, and that is one thing we're able to track is wine walk ticket sales when we have a radio partner at the wine walk. We see, in the past it was Star 105 out of McHenry, which is a middle-aged female demographic in the northwest suburbs, which is very attractive. That's where we want to spend money in our town, and that's who wants to come wine walk. And we see a direct correlation the week that they would do contesting, giving away wine walk tickets, and promoting it on the air. We'd see a big spike in wine walk ticket sales. And that's one area I could show you a positive ROI that happens because I could tie $49 wine walk ticket sales. If we sell 100 of them and spend $2,000 on advertising, there's a positive ROI there. And that's one way I could show that it's working.
I think that's what I'm asking you is, as we move forward, is to start a process of documenting what you're spending for what type of advertisement, and then whatever type of results you can, whether it's, just what you heard, attendance, overall thoughts on that process, just so that when we get into this down the road and you come back to us and say, these worked like a charm, these didn't work, and then we can budget accordingly moving forward in future years based on what you're showing us as actual results of what you're spending.
And I think that'd be good. I could tie in where we've spent money and the results that we get. And one of the things to Trustee Pierce's point, I try to have a marketing mix where we've done digital, we do radio, we do newspaper. We're going to do a thing this summer at the drag boat races at Blarney Island. All summer they're going to be promoting come to Antioch for dinner after the drag boat races. So, and that's all part of the marketing mix. But we'll present something next year,
So this is just, just a pretty modest, relatively modest investment in the digital campaign. We want to try it. We heard it from our businesses. To do the year-long campaign at $60,000, we'll assess this, see if it works, come back to you in the future with some of those data and analytics.
Excellent. Next slide.
Quick.
This line item, downtown beautification, we've seen find my notes here, a 50% growth in this line item. And what this includes, this is decorations downtown during the holidays, Christmas tree lighting, the Christmas lights, America 250 decor with the America 250 celebration this summer, street banners along Main Street, and also an increase in some of the plantings and other beautification that we do downtown. This is a line item, any aesthetics that we do downtown as far as improving the experience for people that come shopping downtown, and any improvements that we make come out of this line item. Yeah.
What are we doing for America 250 in regards to downtown decoration?
So I'm looking at there's street banners, there's other decorations, there's flags, there's like displays that you could put up around town. I wanted to work with Ainsley at the Historical Society. They have a bunch of stuff planned, and also to tie this into our 4th of July. 4th of July is on a Saturday. It's probably going to be the biggest 4th of July, and that's already a busy time in this town. So we're going to make sure it's well decorated with this theme.
I was just saying, just an idea on the banners. In past villages I've lived in during celebrations like this, they'd offer sponsorship opportunities for the individual banners. So you had your banner, but then on the bottom of it would be the sponsor of that banner. It would be up for that holiday or season, and then whoever sponsored that banner got the banner at the end. It's a way of bringing in some revenue to pay for those banners, but also get the community involved in it as well, if it's something you've thought about.
When I had my business, I did sponsored banners in Libertyville that way. I think it's a good way to recoup some of the money. In the past, some of the direction I got was not to do that, but if the board wanted me to look into that, that could offset costs. I think it's good for the businesses to be able to take some ownership and have something physical in town for marketing. I don't think it'd be a huge marketing asset for them, but it shows pride in the community for the local businesses, and it offsets our costs. So, I agree.
One time someone was looking at some kind of banner program, but that was a couple years ago in
Yeah, so like there's companies actually that will make the
maybe
banners.
Kim Bienerman was trying to do something with that too.
Wasn't it about high school seniors? They wanted
Bienerman was trying to do something with it.
Kids up there.
Yeah, something. Yeah, there was a talk. Yeah, there was talk about doing that, but yeah, it's another revenue source. Yeah. Yep.
Good idea.
Just don't listen on the radio to get those banners. Kidding.
Radio.
Towns are the ones that have all the people who served in the armed services.
Historical. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. We're running up against the clock, but sure Ainsley can find some pictures of some old timers and sponsor them. Yeah.
Okay, so some of the existing growth that we have here. So we have a full-time village administrator who's a credentialed manager. So with the credential manager designation, what that signifies is our village administrator goes through continuing education and is up to speed on the most current practices for village administration, best practices that are incorporated from other communities around the country. So Andrew, is it 40 hours? 40 hours a year of continuing education. So some of the training that you'll see in this part of the budget, having a full-time administrator and with an increase of keeping his credential manager designation, you'll see a little bit of an increase there. Our legal services, we expect a little bit of a bump there. This is our monthly retainer for Attorney Vaselli. It's our litigation expenses and also our village prosecutor, who's Swanson and Martin Bell. And then we're also worked out a deal with a lobbyist to do a kind of a per diem arrangement with the village. So instead of paying a $3,000 monthly retainer to keep a lobbyist on retainer, as specific projects come up, like dealing with IDOT or other things like that, we'll pay kind of a per situation rate, which is significantly less than what we were looking at with the monthly retainer.
On the lobbyist, how do we ROI them in Brent's words? Because over the years, we've hired a lot of lobbyists and some have just been a hire and then a ghost in the wind. And some say they've done something, but you never really get any indication that we're getting any bang for the buck on the lobbyists.
So, I'll answer that really quickly. We had a contract that I did not think was advantageous to us, which was that monthly retainer. Cause like I said, we would get information that I would just be getting from IML regarding different programs or grants. We have one lobbyist, Freddie, who I don't even, from what she does for us, for what she charges us is, I don't even know how to explain how she makes a living on it, to be honest with you. So she's a no-brainer and she's helped us through, I believe, any of the OSLID grant stuff, the stuff from the federal government, like she is a big part in that. And then this one is more particularly having somebody in Springfield for when we have problems like we can't get a response from IDOT to get a plat, to get a development done, or, kind of having, it's a squeaky wheel down there sometimes does help. And I think that's kind of the intention of this. But I would say that definitely the Freddie Smoody hire, who I think she came through Jimmy Vaselli's office. So that she's been, the staff can speak to that. She's been, you don't hear about her on the budget, but she has had a big part in these grants, from what I know.
And she got us the body cams for the police department. She was a big part with the Congressman Schneider sidewalk money.
And I don't even think she makes the budget because she's been so nominally cost.
There is a line item under contracted services,
How much is it?
$5,000 or $10,000. It's minimal. The ROI there is really good. Makes up for the radio.
No one missed.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is some of the underspent. So it's parts of the budget that were underspent this past year, but we're asking for either the same amount or more for this year. And I wanted to go through some of the bigger ones to explain why they were underspent. And I think the biggest reason that we see several of these areas is the exit of Kim Biederman. Economic development is part of the administration budget. So when she left in September, we haven't filled that spot. So we don't have a full-time person engaged with that. So that's less money we're spending. We also, partway through the year, we got a full-time village administrator. Prior to that, when we made the budget last year, we had every intention on, some of these line items like training or travel expense, for conferences and things like that. We didn't have a chance to do as much this past fiscal year that we had wanted. Now that the administration department's filling out a little bit better, we anticipate being back on track, and that's what these represent. The first line item there, the meeting expense, I want to point out why there's such a big underspent there, and it's slightly more this next year. The biggest part of this line item is planning and zoning and parks board meetings. What we do is we budget for the full board to meet every month of those two commissions. As you guys know, they don't meet every month. So there's a cushion, there's money that will be left over in this line item every year. I felt it was the best to budget for it and have it not happen than all of a sudden the commissions are meeting every month and we don't have enough money budgeted there. So that's what that line item represents. Then the travel expense under elected officials, that's again, we had budgeted money for, I think, 5 or 6 trustees to be an IML. Not, I forget how many came this past year, where some trustees come out for one day or dinner or something like that. So it's again like the meeting expense where we budget. We want to make sure everybody can go that wants to go, but we were able to save money by people not going this year. But again, we're carrying that forward to the next fiscal year. Next slide. And this is Lori's.
Stay here. Thank you. So just a couple of achievements that we had for this current fiscal year. We worked with our insurance brokers, as you know, to reduce the insurance costs for our property and casualty insurance, which is outstanding considering all the insurance trends going up. And we continue to work with our payroll vendor on processing online applications and doing digital onboarding for new employees. So that has been a year-long process to get that built, and we are in the final stages of implementation for that. Under our human resources, we did have 11 employees exit during this past fiscal year. And as Director Heimbrough and Chief Gutschau said, we have vacancies in both of their departments. But we did recently fill the HR generalist position, so I'm excited to have some assistance there to hopefully get those positions filled. And as Director Peterson said, we have a lot of FOIA, so we did process almost 500 FOIA for the 2025 calendar year. So,
What's the adding from one individual?
we do have, we didn't have any, what are considered recurrent requesters, which are people that request a certain amount within a certain amount of time. We did not have any of those, last year. Some new line items that moved from other professional services, to their own items are codification and shredding and scanning service. So instead of lumping those all into other professional services, they're going to have their own line items so we can see those individual costs for those services.
The library now.
Yeah, the library shredder, I feel, would not be satisfactory for our shredding needs. I was just over at the old village hall yesterday, going through and shifting some boxes and organizing them so that we can apply for our disposal certificate with the state and we can get a paper tiger out here to shred. Some of those records still need to be indexed. Some are very well labeled, some are not so well labeled. We still have to go through all of them. That's part of the shredding and scanning of the old files. So hopefully some of those we can identify to be scanned and then put into our document repository, so that we have immediate access to those. And then we also have additional users for our Laserfish repository. That's our document repository that hosts our copies of our minutes, ordinances, resolutions, agendas, property files, subdivision files. We have all of those things that I just mentioned scanned in from 1892 until the current time. They're all searchable as long as they're not handwritten. So the minute books from 1892 are handwritten. We can't search the text on those. But adding additional users to that allows staff to help with putting those files in. It helps staff. We use that tool for redaction for our FOIA requests. And it will allow, staff to search well, we're more than happy to assist staff in searching for records and providing them. It also provides them the opportunity to do that. I think
Questions?
that's it. Any questions?
Lori, I did have one question. I meant to ask this today. Was, did you, budget for an increase for insurance for next year by a certain percentage? I forgot to ask you.
I think we typically budget a 10 to 12% increase for both group health and our property and casualty, but it's only 4 months of 8 for health.
Okay.
But it's only for 4 months because our renewal is in June.
Got it. Okay, thank you. All right, he's back.
This is the communications portion of the budget. As you guys know, since I've transitioned out of the communications manager role into the current assistant administrator role, we've outsourced a lot of this to a contractor, but we still handle a lot of things in-house. Next slide here. So this is actually my only slide. I wanted to show an area of the budget that was underspent. As you guys know, in the past, I started to put together a direct mail newsletter that goes out to residents. So in our other professional services, which is the digital design and photography, the design portion of this was the designing of our newsletter, and then the printing portion, which was significantly underspent as well, really tie those two together. This past year, as you guys know, me and former administrator Gutchow did a lot of plate spinning. With one example is in our community development department when we lost our director. I focused a lot of my time there. So this was an area that kind of took a back seat at that moment, and we plan to reinstitute a direct mail newsletter again later on this fall to keep residents, in touch with what's going on with the village. Any questions?
Question, so this $12,000 isn't on page 169? On page 169, we have business incentives, digital photography for business and video. This isn't the 12,000. This is another 12,000 set aside.
That what you're talking about, I'm trying to find the exact line item we're looking at, but $12,000 business incentive is out of we have a $50,000 business incentive overall budget. 12,000 of that, we are spending directly with mostly our Main Street businesses, to help support photos and videos. That we asked our business community, what is the number one thing that the village can do to help support you? And their answer was video and photography. That those have evergreen effects. This is something the village and the township did during COVID, I understand. They said that, last year. So having those photos and having those videos was the number one most important thing we could do to support the business community when we met and asked them.
That just tripped a thought in my mind, and I think me and Brent had discussed this in the past. We're doing stuff to support our business community. What are we doing to support our HOAs and our homeowners groups? Are we setting aside money to help them out on stuff they need help with?
So like in particular with Oakwood Knolls.
That's one spot,
So
but there's other subdivisions that are here asking for stuff at times.
So I'll speak to Oakwood Knolls. I just spoke to the president of Oakwood, and it's a little bit off topic, but we will support them with staff expertise. We will support them in pursuing grants. Like, so they have identified grants and asked if we could help support that. And my answer was yes, absolutely. Unless there's a legal reason or something else that prohibits it, we should, we can use village resources to help in our area of expertise. Or for instance, if we were to go out to bid for a contract that was relevant to an HOA and someone wanted to piggyback off of our pricing and gain economies of scales, but we did the heavy lift. We prepared the bid package. That's not someone's expertise. Those are the kinds of, I'll call soft costs, where we can help. We should be able to help homeowners. So that's one way I would answer your question.
I mean, because we're using taxpayers' dollars to support businesses. And we come up with a justification for that. Can't we come up with some sort of justification to help with dollars for HOAs? Or is that a discussion we need to have at another time?
Yeah, I think it's a very different thing.
There's legal, oh,
Just,
go
you
on.
know, I think just because, well, I think because they're kind of a quasi-governmental and some are required HOAs, others are voluntary. There's some things that we'd have to probably work out on different, whatever, however they're set up statutorily, which I know is probably the legal answer that.
That was brilliant, sir.
But
There's your $31,000 raise.
sorry. I do want to say the one thing that we also with the business organizations have talked about, it's in this number somewhere, is we do have regular meetings with them now.
Every month.
Jim and Andrew, and get them in this room and we get to hear all the complaints and how can we help you. And we brought this up, re-engaging the All Together group as part of this process too. And they're the ones that helped with the ghost signs and of things downtown, I think whatever the QR codes they had for a while. So we're trying to help those resources to bring traffic, which hopefully brings sales tax. But that's what we're doing with the businesses right now as part of this.
That leads me to the next thing. Shouldn't we somehow be doing those meetings every month or every quarter with HOA leadership to see what their
There could be some
concerns are?
HOA liaisons of some sort, yeah. I think we actually had a liaison at some point on the board when we had the parks liaison and this liaison. There might have been a HOA liaison at some point.
We discussed it, but we never quite made it that
Okay,
far.
okay.
First year on, I was the HOA liaison, but there was nothing for us, we didn't even have a list of HOAs, we did.
Let me give you all the best advice I can give you tonight. Never become the HOA president. Ever, ever, ever. Ever.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Any other questions?
Thank you,
for your
sir.
time.
All right. Amy's been sitting there patiently with IT. I might take a break and then. Yeah, and then just. Yeah.
Good evening.
Hello.
Technology's working great. I'm done. Bye.
Yeah. Other cameras. Chill.
Here we go. So I consist of me. And I report to Jim, the Assistant Village Administrator. And right now, we do have contracted for 8 hours a week for DeKind. As part of the budget, I am requesting additional 4 hours a week based on the workload that we have. The other option would be to bring additional staff in-house, and that is an additional payroll obligation that I just don't feel is necessary right now. It is working very well with DeKind, and I would like to continue with that. Slide. So this is just an overview of the different departments and what is supported. In addition to for the police department, as Chief had stated, there was a migration of the in-squad computers from ETSB over to us, which includes another 14 devices. And then plus now all squads do have, or there are 4 iPhones within the squads. So we are definitely becoming a lot more technology driven here. So every year we see an increase in the IT budget because of that. Next slide. So this again is just other departments, just an overview. We don't have to go through it all. We still do have equipment at Old Village Hall that is running the cameras there and the Parks Department cameras because we were all connected at one time. So that is addressed in this budget as well. And again, more locations. You know, some of them, like the metro station does have cameras, does have the access control system. We are looking throughout the next several years of rolling out the door access control system to other locations as we deem appropriate. Next slide. So my goal is to just ensure that everything that is in the budget is executed successfully. There are a lot of initiatives around cybersecurity, because it's definitely needed. It's also focusing on the public works facility. And then hopefully we're done with construction for a little bit. And also the fiber to the band shell is going to be a significant improvement and help with these acts that we are bringing in now. A lot of them do require internet connectivity that we don't have there. So we could either get Comcast there, or we could tie it now in because of our location, run the fiber to here, have security cameras all over here, eliminating the need for all the equipment that we have there right now. And then mobile device management is also part of the projects that we have for next year. Next slide. So cybersecurity. This is probably one of the largest budget impacts I have, and because these are reoccurring costs, but these have all been deemed very necessary for us to continue in a secure environment. Password management software for key personnel, so that there's not the Post-it notes stuck on everybody's or saved on their phones. Mobile device management, we are, providing more devices to more personnel. So we need to keep control of those devices, making sure that everything that they're doing on it is appropriate and that we're able to secure our data if it is lost. Email signature management, just to standardize it across the board. Email archiving software, as FOIAs increase, there has been a limitation put on our current system that we use. We are doing a workaround within the Microsoft 365 environment. And with every update that they do, it's limiting us more and more and creating more work on Lori to just even pull these FOIAs. Huntress. So this is a new offering from DeKind that on our own we would not be able to really afford. So by going off of a reseller like them, they can offer it at a bigger discount because of the volume licensing that they get compared to what we do. This really came to a head of what is necessary with all of these spoofing emails that have come out, and the latest phishing one that came from all the police departments. This would help prevent that. It also protects our 365 environment in the back end from, we can geofence it then and identify if bad actors are trying to get in from outside of an area that we define. So we would not allow any logins from outside of the United States, and we would actually probably bring it down from there even. We have to be a little careful about how tight we go with it because of the fact that it depends on what node you're bouncing off of. There's sometimes it looks like we're coming from Carroll Stream, even though we're here. So you do have to keep a pretty broad parameter, especially with individuals traveling for conferences or whatever. But at least we have a lot more control over it and logs in place then. Microsoft or Office 365, as we're relying more on the cloud, we need to enhance our backups to include that, including our email, not just archiving, but if someone blows up their calendar right now, getting that back takes extensive steps if we can fully recover it. So we really need to put that in place. And then Entra ID backup, as we are doing single sign-on, the same thing. If something happens and that gets corrupt, there's no way we would have to reinvent it right now or reproduce it. Next slide. And so this is where we address the DeKind on-site support. It does increase the cost. It's a $25,000 increase, but again, it is better than having that payroll obligation right now. And we are happy with them. And then the fiber connectivity to the band shell.
Let's think about the cameras. What does that mean? Because I know Ed asked that. It says integration of the camera system.
Okay, so right now we do have a DVR over at the band shell. That to get remote connectivity to it, there's an antenna on the band shell roof that goes over to Old Village Hall. And so you're actually connecting to the Old Village Hall to remote into that because there's no internet there. So the fiber connectivity, so that server is also due to be replaced. So a new server is $8,000. Plus then if we get internet connectivity there, that's a reoccurring cost. So by running the fiber from the band shell and from the 2 light poles to Village Hall here, we now have connectivity back to here. We have the capacity to bring those cameras onto our servers at right here. Pardon?
Used to be cameras.
So there are 2 cameras back there. Is that where you're talking about back in the?
There used to be on the poles back there when Somerville was here, and then Jim Kine took them.
Oh, okay.
He took them down because I don't know.
We do have cameras there now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a camera on.
but
the
they were
bandshell.
specifically at band shell looking at the audience.
Yeah, we have one there from the band show looking at
Right.
the audience. Yeah, and then we have on both of the poles. And the fiber connectivity, we would also look at then to see there are 2 poles back in this area behind the restrooms. So at the same time, we would see if there's a way to feasibly do those 2 to expand any cameras back to there also. Next slide.
Before you go further.
Yes.
Back to the fiber.
Yes.
As we're doing the connectivity to the band shell, if we're holding large events there, people's phones get choked, Wi-Fi gets that killed out. Are we, as part of that fiber enhancement, putting in like repeaters for cell phone service and Wi-Fi?
This would be strictly connected back to our network here.
Okay.
We could look at providing some sort of Wi-Fi coverage, but that also puts us in a liability. You
I'm
know, of
just looking when people are sitting there, all of a sudden you got 5,000 people trying to climb on top of each other to get through
Right.
because we got no management that way. But at the same time, they're trying to get on their phones and their phones are like nearly bricks because the cell phone service is being choked out.
yeah, we would have to get repeaters for every provider then, because each provider's on a different. So computer equipment, like I was saying, the current video server is at Village Hall, the old Village Hall. It was installed in 2019, so this would replace it and place it at the, at the Parks and Rec building. And it also requires some, an additional switch there also, so that's included in that. And then the iPads for the elected officials, and these iPads would be going to the Planning and Zoning Board. And then board packet management software to replace Dropbox so that we could get the packets out to everybody. And there's a different functionality with them for note taking and highlighting and that sort of thing. And then for software licensing, Microsoft did announce that they are doing a 12% license increase, but they're only allowed to do 10%. So they're doing 10% this coming year. And then of course, we'll do the additional 2% plus, the following year. And then our next Tiva phone system, we will be adding a couple of additional licenses. So there will be a small increase for that contract payment as well. That's a 3-year contract. So that, and the next Tiva phone system, I have a go live date of mid-May. So we're there. So, and that's it. Any questions?
Since you're up here, back to our favorite topic of cameras.
Yes.
I think there's nothing worse than having somebody a week later scrolling through trying to figure out who did what crime when and how they did it. Because I mean, it's just by that point the crime's already occurred. Are we looking? I was told to ask you. Are we looking into having AI management of monitoring our cameras to see if there's AI now can detect people lingering, loitering, people with guns. They can do a lot. The AI can do a lot of detection and warning of our police department.
It hasn't been an initiative that's been presented to me, but it's something that I could look into.
I should ask you to. That's why I'm bringing it up here.
Yeah. So it's something that I can work with the police department on to see if there's been any successful implementations of it, and to look at the staffing for managing that.
Somebody's getting beaten up with sticks and the AI detects it, they could dispatch the police a little bit quicker.
I don't know if it can detect person or animal. It's not there yet.
Any questions, additional questions for Amy? All right, thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
So, I think this is probably a great stopping point for this right now, since there's been a lot of discussion and probably some questions that trustees have, for the administrator, department heads between now. And I believe there's probably going to be some changes in what we see from the capital side of it. So to go through it now is probably more brain drain than the room can take. So if the board is okay with that, I would ask that we continue the capital portion to a date to be determined no later than the 13th of May, obviously, but I'll ask for suggestions on how we, move that forward and keep this moving forward. Any discussion on that? Any version to that? Do we want to have a special meeting? Do we want to wait till May 13th?
Doesn't matter to me. I will just warn you, I will be in Louisiana working next week and Kansas the following week working. So
What is
if
our,
you need me, I'll be
do
remote.
we have a 2 or 3 week break for the next meeting? Is it a 3 week break? So what about the first week of May? Do we have, anyone have conflicts in that?
Yeah, I'll be drunk that week.
Oh, Michael, you're out of town?
1, 2, 3.
You're out of town?
When do you leave, Michael? Just. Okay.
Okay.
So the next dates are April 29th would be the next Wednesday.
Oh, you said it right, Scott?
Indiana.
And then we've got May 6th.
And you're out that,
City.
okay.
And he's drunk.
And then a couple, 2, 3.
That's Cinco de Mayo.
At the boat races and drive.
All right, so let's, I guess we could circulate amongst the board
be-
to see. So we remote, you guys want to do it
April 29th?
as the 29th to go through capital and,
Whatever you want.
okay, and put it on for potential approval? Does that work for, well, I really don't, does that work for everybody? In the evening, yeah, just a regular special meeting, just like this. Do you want to start at 6:30? What do you guys want to do? 5:30? What you got?
30.
6:30, okay, 6:30.
30.
Okay, so we'll do a special meeting and hopefully knock this out. Questions, get them to the staff and do that next Wednesday at 6:30. All right,
Doing that all virtual, or is that gonna be?
we'll do it here, but you can be virtual if, you can be on Zoom if you need to be. But that, I always need a quorum, All right, any other business in the committee of the whole meeting? Otherwise, what's a motion to adjourn this meeting? Motion trustee Pierce, second trustee Martinez, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, it's 8:46. Do we need a break or you just want to keep, okay,
Need 5 minutes.
take 5 minute break. Let's call the meeting back to order not back to order, the regular meeting to order at, what's it? 8:55. Roll call, please.
Trustee Mason, trustee Bluthart.
Here.
Trustee McNeil.
Here.
Trustee Martinez. Trustee Pierce.
Present.
Trustee Peterson.
Present.
Mayor Gurke.
Present, no reports, no public comment, consent agenda, there are 5 items. One is the approval of the April 8th meeting minutes. The second is approval of a resolution for a liquor license for the Moose Lodge for the Thursday concerts. Then we have an approval of a resolution for a liquor license for the VFW for the Thursday concerts, approval of an ordinance authorizing agreement between Lake County Health Department and the Village of Antioch for animal control services, and approval of an ordinance authorizing and approving agreement between HR Green and the Village of Antioch. Do I have any request to remove any of those items? All right, I'll entertain a motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Motion trustee Bluthart,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, roll call, please.
Mason, Bluthart.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. First item, or number 6 on the regular business, is consideration and approval of payments of accounts payable as prepared by staff in the amount of $893,898.27. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee McNeil, second trustee Martinez. Any discussion? Otherwise, roll call, please.
Mason,
Yes.
Bluthart.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Peterson.
Yes.
I.
6 voting yes, motion carries. On item 7, I probably entertain a motion to remove this from, can I remove it unilaterally or get a motion?
Need to table it, or do we?
Yeah, get a motion to table this number 7 to a special meeting next week, the 29th.
Make a motion to table the approval of the budget to the special meeting on April 29th.
Motion trustee Bluthart,
Second.
second trustee Peterson. Roll call, please.
Mason, Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce. Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration and approval of an ordinance authorizing the use of a form agreement with FSS Technologies LLC for the direct connection of a fire alarm and detection system in the village of Antioch. Do I need to have an ordinance number on this? No. Okay, can I have a motion in the second, please? Waiving the second reading, even if there's no number?
Yeah.
Okay.
With waiving the second
Okay.
reading.
Motion trustee Peterson, second trustee Bluthart. Roll call, please. Question? Yeah.
I'm just gonna state that I'm still in opposition to this because I.
Mason.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
No.
Peterson.
Yes.
Right, 5 voting yes, motion carries. Last item, consideration and approval of a resolution of the Village of Antioch in support of the Municipal Housing Authority. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second. Motion trustee Bluthart, second, trustee Martinez. Yeah,
Page 291.
How does this affect us?
it's just a resolution saying that we still want local control of our zoning.
Okay.
If approved, or provide a copy to Illinois Municipal League, they're collecting them.
Collecting these.
The state reps and state senators will receive a copy and.
Great.
I have a motion second. Okay, roll call, please.
Mason.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Administrators report.
Couple things. Nobody wants to hear me talk. Chamber of Commerce, to let the board know, Jim Moran is officially, our board representative at the Chamber of Commerce meeting. Thank you, Jim, for being there and representing us. So that's, a step in the right direction. So we're officially represented there.
So people see like a voodoo doll or something. Voodoo doll. He's always getting poked with all the.
I don't want to hear no rumor.
Yeah.
All services alternate.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, e-bikes, just know staff's working on e-bikes, but really there's state legislation pending. I think the board's aware of that. So we are monitoring that because, the pending legislation preempts anything we would do. So that may put us in a holding pattern, but more to come on that. 520 Lake Street is the cleaners. Just know that we have one quote to demolish that building. We've been doing the remediation work that's needed out there. We're getting 2 more quotes, so that building will be coming down soon. We've spoken with the owner directly. I should say the owner's represented the LLC, and so she's aware. And last conversation with her, she was very agreeable and thankful that we were demolishing it for her and then leaning the property. Big fight. So that will be happening soon. Staff and the team, Attorney Vaselli as well, just know we're continuing to make great progress on our marketplace discussions for the marketplace redevelopment with regards to a redevelopment agreement. So we expect to bring that to you in May. So that's coming shortly. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, I wanted the board to know, I did speak with Oakwood Knolls president. They were here and spoke at public comment. We've had conversations back and forth. I did speak with the president. I think it ended with a good understanding. Given the geography of it and the ownership of the lake, the village does not have ownership on that shoreline, different than Peterson Park and Lake Tranquility, for instance, where we do own a large portion of the shoreline, where we do participate in the dredging of that lake. That is distinctly different than Oakwood Knolls or any of the other lakes really in Antioch. So we do not participate financially directly, but what we did speak about was that the village will help with grants. If they were to find grants, we can help to secure those grants if there's a role for us to be a co-applicant or something of that nature. So I think we left with a really good understanding and similar to the discussion that I had earlier. We'll offer staff expertise, staff guidance, and indirect help to the best we can.
Good.
And then I attended my first Lee County Managers meeting yesterday, which was great to be there. 20 different managers and administrators were in the room. And no surprise, I really just wanted to report the issues that were discussed in that room were flooding, municipal zoning authority, and e-bikes. So nothing too unique. That was really what I wanted to share with you tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Village clerk,
Sorry.
any trustee reports? Trustee Luther.
I just want to make a quick comment. There was the grand opening at the Remax in town this weekend, and it was tremendous turnout, and there were 4 of the elected officials there. And it was just nice to see the comments that were made and everything else. It was just a very nice event. So I just want to congratulate Mike Nielsen on purchasing Remax over there, and hopefully we can get turnouts like that for these other grand openings as we go down the road, because it was nice to see everyone at that event.
You. Any other trustee reports? I don't have any. Sure.
Real quick, I'd like to thank Public Works, the Antioch Garden Club's having Arbor Day planting at the mini park, and we're gonna plant the birch tree, and so Friday at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, yeah. Oh, yeah.
See you there. And again, I'd like to thank Public Works for their assistance.
And I'll send an email. I'll double check with Jim Moran. We may have an extra ticket or two to the Lake County Partners Breakfast, which is a big business recruitment event. So I'll check numbers. If we have extra tickets, I'll have them circulate to anybody that might want to go from the board or staff. So okay. I think it's I think there's networking from 7 to 8. I think it's 8, starts more about 8 o'clock, and it rains every year like cats and dogs. And I see it's gonna rain on Friday. Yes. All right. Any other business? I don't have any executive session requests, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson.
Second.
Second trustee McNeil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 9:03.